So the principal called me about 12 o'clock on that Friday and said that there had been an incident. She told me that not to worry, my son was fine. I said, okay, great. It came across like the incident was just that the BB gun was just in the book bag. I said, okay, no worries. If my son does know anything or tells me anything, he'll tell me. And that's exactly what happened. When I picked him up from the Y that afternoon, I asked him how his day was. Like, we always have our conversations. And that's when he went in and he said, Mom, a girl brought a gun to school. She pointed it in my face. She said, my finger's on the trigger. I'm gonna shoot your eye out. Sorry.
That's terrifying.
Extremely, extremely terrifying. And it took a lot of me to keep my composure and to not lose it as a parent. It's traumatizing to hear what my son had to go through in that moment. And I said, babe, are you sure it was a real gun? He said, yes, Mama, it was a real gun. And I said, well, what did you do, buddy? What did you do? And he said, I placed my hands up in the air and I told her, no, please put the gun down. My family will miss me. That's tough.
It is.
That's extremely tough.
As a mom to an only son, I can't even begin to imagine your pain and your frustration. So after the incident happened and you got your son, first of all, how is your son?
I think he's okay. We're working through things.
Yeah. So did the school offer any counseling? Has he had any special attention? Because I couldn't imagine someone pulling a gun out, even near me, let alone pointing it at me. And at 6, at 41, I can't decipher the difference between a BB gun and a real gun.
Right,
So
exactly.
I'm wondering, is he getting the counseling that he needs, and how safe is he feeling right now?
I don't think that he is feeling safe. He has told me, because the child who pulled the gun is still in the same classroom with him. And when I speak to him and I ask him, how do you feel? He tells me he's afraid of her. And that I said, well, what makes you afraid? He said, when I look at her, I'm afraid that she will do it again. The school did offer to do in-school counseling, but I was not very pleased. I never heard from the counselor myself. When I spoke to the principal, they said they've met with him twice and that he didn't seem to have any trauma, which I disagree. How would they know? They don't know what goes in his mind. So yeah, that's where we're at right now.
How do we support your son? How do we support you? And how do we support our school system?
Absolutely. I feel that we as parents, as community members, need to push for the policy to be changed, because it's traumatizing for my child to have to sit and see the aggressor every day, and there's nothing that can protect him. I've tried everything that I can to get this pushed with the superintendent, the principal, the Asheville School Board, and I just get nowhere. So I feel as a community, we have to rally for our children, and we have to ask for, in situations like this, where is the victim's rights? How do we support the victim in this situation?
Did you request a classroom change?
I did. That's the only thing I requested. That's the only thing. Considering I read their policy, and under their policy it states that they, don't tolerate guns, this and that. It wasn't until I got the news involved that they told me that it was a broken BB gun. The only thing that I heard was that it was not loaded. But I don't think it should matter. I don't think it matters whether it was loaded or unloaded. It's the fact that she brought it on campus, she had a threat, and who knows what could have happened if it was loaded, and what kind of conversation they would be having with me if it was loaded.
It's interesting because it reminds me of Tamir Rice, because he was playing with a BB gun at the park, and a police officer shot and killed him and was acquitted because they didn't know if the gun was real or not. And then to put that onus on a 6-year-old feels really unfair. So when you requested the classroom change, what happened?
They said that they could not do that, that they could move my son, which I told her absolutely not. I do not agree that that's fair. that's like telling my son that he did something wrong and punishing him. He loves his teacher. So why would I move him? That's unacceptable.
I agree with that. So here we are. You are Asheville City School parent. You're not saying burn down the system. You're not saying fire somebody. You're just saying, can you move my son's aggressor so that my child can have the right to public education where he feels safe?
Absolutely. That is all. That's all I asked for.
Nothing else. You
Nothing
don't want
else.
no money,
I don't
a
want
check.
money. I didn't, you know, a lot of people said, sue the schools, do this. No, all I'm asking is to support my son. In the statement that they put out, they said all families were supported. No, I'm not supported, because if I was, then that classroom change would have happened without hesitation.
And what can our listening audience do? How can we participate in this very important matter? What would you like to see us do? How can we support you?
Calling the school board, you know, asking for a change in that for the victims, because, you know, today it was my son. Tomorrow it could be your child. Going to the school board meetings and just really showing up and requesting a policy change, because again, there's nothing in there that supports victims. So I'd hate to see for this to happen again, because in the world that we live in, who's to say it won't happen again, which is what a promise that they said to me is that, oh, we can promise it won't happen again. And I said, you can't tell me that. It's already happened. So I think that that's what we need to do, is just really push for the policy to be changed.
Well, I'm a big fan of policy, practice, and procedural changes when it comes to creating environments that support all people. And I'm really going to be watching this issue, and I'll definitely pick up the phone and make a phone call. I'll definitely shoot a letter, an email, because as a community member, I want to support you.
Thank you.
And again, from the Asheville View family, we're sorry that this happened to you. We're sorry that it happened to your son, but we're here for you, and we want to see this matter resolved.
Thank you.
Thanks
I
for
appreciate
being here today.
Thank you.